Sunday Now. I'm your host, Christina Evans. So as we look ahead into this season, we know that two major games are going to be coming up on Christmas Day, but there's a special twist with that. They're going to be streamed on the platform Netflix. Of course, we know that the media giant is now endeavoring into live events, but there was some controversy last week after the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. Saw a lot of screens fuzzy as they had some issues with their network. So we do want to bring in to the conversation now Rob Rosenberg. He's a media analyst. Thanks so much for being with us here on Football Sunday Now. But let's chat about what's coming ahead. We do know, of course, there were some issues streaming side for some viewers who are trying to watch that Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. Is this likely to happen again when Netflix has another major day coming up with these two NFL games happening on Christmas Day?
Thanks for having me. I think when you take a look at the event from last weekend, it was a staggering success. You know, there were 108 million viewers worldwide. I think it peaked at 65 million. So, you know, yes, there were streaming problems. There were buffering issues. I think in excess of 1 million people had posted online about having issues. So, you know, for the vast majority of people who came out for the fight, they didn't encounter those kinds of issues. Streaming is not easy, particularly at that scale. You know, you're dealing with vast numbers, and, you know, there's a bit of a learning curve to it. You know, Netflix caters to a lot of subscribers worldwide, but that's not the live event business that they're now in. So with the live event business, you know, there's significant demand being placed on the system. And sometimes, as prepared as you try to be, if demand exceeds expectations, then there could be problems.
It's certainly interesting because there's actually a man out of Florida who's now started a class action lawsuit against Netflix because he was struggling to watch the fight himself. First of all, what are your thoughts when you heard about this lawsuit? Does this have any legs? Is it possible that this can even happen? I've never seen personally or heard of anything like this before.
I mean, unfortunately, I've seen it a lot. That, you know, it happens. I think that, you know, there are enterprising lawyers who prepare lawsuits, and when events like this are coming up, they're just waiting for an issue to arise. They can find people to name in the lawsuit, and they're off to the races. So, you know, I wasn't surprised at all to see this happen. I think that if you take a look at Netflix's terms of use, when you sign up for Netflix and you click accept on their terms of use, you're agreeing that you're not going to participate in a class action lawsuit, that if there are any issues between you and Netflix, you agree that you're going to resolve them through arbitration. So I do think that Netflix is going to attempt to get the case dismissed on the basis that, you know, under contract, all of these consumers have agreed that they would resolve these issues through arbitration.
All right, so let's now look ahead, like we were just talking about. Really excited for these Christmas Day games. Taking a look at this tweet that was put out there by Netflix. Of course, the NFL is live on Netflix this Christmas, Wednesday, December 25th. Chiefs versus the Steelers at 1 o'clock. Ravens versus the Texans at 4:30 Eastern time. So when we're taking a look at this, Rob, I have to ask you, we just talked about how that fight and the amount of viewership was record-setting. Is this potentially could surpass that as well? As we know that, of course, football, while baseball is America's pastime, football tends to dominate when it comes to getting viewers to watch content live.
Yeah, it's a day, you know, it's Christmas Day. People are home. People are celebrating. I do think that we're going to see huge numbers. I think last year there was a Thanksgiving Day game, and that brought in excess of 40 million viewers. And I think we're going to see numbers like that, if not larger, particularly because Netflix is also opening this up on an international basis.
And even to add, you know, more players, more things to it in the mix, one of the world's biggest superstars is also going to be performing at halftime during that second game. Of course, we're talking about Miss Cowboy Carter, Beyonce herself, will be taking to the stage there at halftime during the Ravens and the Houston Texans game. Again, this is feeling like a major moment for the platform. What do they need to do to capitalize off of this moment to ensure that this goes well and doesn't end up in another place where people are complaining online afterwards? Is there stuff that they can do ahead of time to better prepare?
Yeah, I mean, I think they fully grasp that there's a lot riding on them pulling this off successfully. I believe that they would have, they probably planned the scheduling of the Paul and Tyson fight just so that they could test out where they were in their system, so that, you know, almost as a test case for what's going to happen on Christmas. So I think they've given themselves a month to go in to shore things up. I think that they certainly, every time you do one of these events, you learn from it. And I think that they're going to be better prepared come Christmas Day.
Certainly, of course, we know that the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight wasn't even the first one. They've had other live events, but again, it's been shaky throughout, so it's going to be interesting to see how things play out on Christmas Day. Rob Rosenberg, media analyst, thank you so much for being here with us on Football Sunday Now.